y'all motherfuckers ready to talk about the tragedy that is going on in this country?
Which one?
I know. See, I had to wait a little bit extra because I knew I was going to say motherfuckers, and I know how YouTube waits for the first 15 seconds to look for swearing, so
Yeah.
playing the YouTube algorithm game, G. Speaking of G, I don't know if we talked about this in the show prep. Did you hear about Andrew Tate wanting to go be PM of Britain?
Okay, that's something that I've actually been wondering on. I did hear about this. Isn't he Romanian?
No, he's from the UK, but he's been hiding out in Romaine. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been hiding out there.
He's just hiding there. Okay, that I misunderstood that completely. There was God, what was it? I was watching an old CoffeeZilla video about Tate from like 2 years ago,
Yo.
and it just was like I'd have to like double check. There must have been something else where I would have heard him speak at some point, or maybe it's just that in the time since, as he's gotten disgustingly wealthy, he's done better to hide his accent. But they're seeing CoffeeZilla go through those old videos. His accent is so fucked. It's like a weird forced American accent, but he can't stop himself from having British pronunciations just randomly slip through every once in a while.
I noticed. I think it's because, again, he preys on like the little dweebs here in America that are into that hyper masculinity.
Apparently he has American citizenship. He's a dual American British citizen. So
we get to beat up on him?
I don't care enough to like look past that. But apparently.
That's so silly.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate, I know you're listening. If you would like to be on the podcast, please have your people contact my people. We would love to have you on, and we'll teach you how to actually like pronounce shit like an American.
Yeah, teach you some good enunciation.
I mean, golden from me, because, you know, my mother laughed at me the other day because she says I have a Midwest accent, but it's not quite a Midwest accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck my accent is, but
Midwest, but you try not to have one.
I don't know, dude. Like, I think I'm okay with having a Midwest accent.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I don't think it's like an intentional thing, you know? Yeah. It's just like a byproduct of being exposed to the world much more and other accents.
That's fair. I like that. I think for me, opening up a little bit about my past, I had to go through speech therapy as a kid. So I think there is that aspect still impacting me as an adult. It doesn't help that as I get older and I become more aware of my own dyslexia, that I've also realized I think that dyslexia impacts how I pronounce some words as well. Because I typically have a hard time getting my words in order because of how the fucking language works in my goddamn brain.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's been a week, ladies and gentlemen.
It has.
And there's snow, there's fire, there's more snow.
Yeah. I'm glad that we're finally getting what I would consider real snow.
Oh, yeah. Like,
we've had this wimpy, like, 2.5 inches at most on the ground for a while, and it's been nice that it's actually stuck around. I was talking with my mom about this last night, how we couldn't remember a snowstorm in the last 10 years where we got snow on the ground in any amounts that didn't start melt like 2 days later.
I don't know, dude, because like I feel like the polar vortex, for one, was definitely in the last 10 years. There was a really bad one back in late 2019. I remember because that's when I was working at iHeartRadio downtown GR.
Yep.
And everybody got to leave early except for me because I was the guy who got to close the station at midnight. So
we've definitely had bad storms for sure. Yeah. I'm thinking more of the longevity of it, like stuff lasting on the ground from a small storm for more than a week has been a while. It's usually like a big blizzard that causes it to stick around.
That is completely fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I will give you that. I think, and here's my theory on it, right? It's the humidity. I think it's been drier this year, and that when you have more
Well, that's
humid
true.
temperature, you get the snow dissipating a lot faster.
I believe I heard that 2024 was officially, like, obviously it's the warmest year on record, like every year will be.
Yeah.
But that it was also the first year where we failed to stay under the 1.5 Celsius warming threshold that is expected to be the breaking point of sort of like no return, or no return to normal weather patterns in our lifetimes. So we're fucked.
Stop saying that, Kyle. Stop
Yay!
saying
It's
that.
official.
Damn. I don't know. Like, I don't want to doubt the science because, like, obviously the science is there for a reason.
Yep.
But I think we were all still a little shocked by how well we went back from COVID. Like when COVID was going on and there was like less people out there.
Mm-hmm.
We bounced back a little bit during that.
We did.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it was perfect. I'm just saying maybe we're a little bit more resilient than we originally thought.
Humanity, like, as a concept, I firmly believe is not going anywhere anytime soon. We're too damn stubborn for that, right?
Yeah.
We had our current, like, what was it? Something about early hominids were like bottlenecked to hundreds or thousands of population at a certain point. And we, as a species, were able to get back from that. It says nature.com. Around 900,000 years ago, the ancestor of modern humans were pushed to the brink of extinction. Genetic studies suggest that the breeding population of our ancestors in Africa dropped to just 1,280 and didn't expand again for another 100,000 years after.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I fully agree that it would take a hell of a lot more than the climate change that we have for humanity to, become extinct or even become threatened of becoming extinct. It's just like, how comfortable do we want to be? How long do we want our summers? And how hot do we want them?
Oh my God. I don't know. I think we should start moving to the UP if that's the case.
I'm telling you, it's what I said before. It's a prime opportunity.
Goddamn.
Lots of trees, lots of snow. It's the closest thing you can get to Canada without getting to Canada, pretty much.
Pretty much.
And it's got the same number of racists, which is a lot.
Okay, that's like anywhere that's more rural in the United States, though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
I feel like the UP is particularly bad, though, just by the nature of its isolation.
That's fair. Like, my fear with the UP at all times is that they are kind of like Appalachia, where they're so isolated to their own thing that I feel like if we go there, we'll be making like contact with uncontacted civilizations.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason why we have that bridge, and it's to intimidate them with our modern architecture.
Hell
You
yeah.
don't have to fuck with us.
So, California is kind of fucked right now.
How fucked are they?
It's pretty bad.
Oh.
Right now, they have 2 major forest fires that are very minimally contained and causing massive amounts of destruction as they go.
That's not
a lot of the
funny.
news this week has been surrounding the Palisades fire that is in the LA area. It's currently at 23,000 acres and has 11% containment. Not great. As far as I know, there's not any signs of natural forces expected to come through and clean it up. They're not expecting any particularly large amounts of rain or anything like that. And that has been why this fire is so bad. I was reading that apparently over the last year, the greater LA area has only seen something like 2.5 inches of rain.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's basically, and I guess that's what they're going to have to contend with here, right? Is like it's becoming a desert practically. Just everything is going to get burned down that's flammable, pretty much.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man. Like, speaking
Yeah.
as someone in the insurance industry right now, California has kept me up at night lately with how much stress going on over there.
Yeah. It's messed up. There's a good graphic that was going around this week that was like, if you're wondering why this is such a big news story, here's a comparison of the population of just the LA area to entire states of the United States.
Yeah.
And just the LA area beats, I think, 30 or so entire states, including Michigan. Michigan has less population than the LA area.
Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we got Detroit, but I mean, LA is basically its own economy at this point.
It is, yeah. It probably has a larger GDP than the entire state of Michigan does. Just given how much tech is there. We're also seeing the Eaton Fire, which is also in the LA area. Not as large, 14,000 acres. It's better containment, 27%. And thankfully, from what I understand, a large portion of it is in less populated areas. So it's been less destructive in that way. But still, it's moving into the LA area kind of from like the other direction. And it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I can definitely see that being terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been dealing with extremely high winds that have been causing the fires to really get whipped up and blown around. That's been the main thing that they're fighting against. And it's, I don't know, they're obviously doing what they can, but having fires this time of year at all is extremely rare.
I just want to also just kind of like call out something.
Mm-hmm.
A big fuck you to all the people making political comments about how LA is a shithole during all this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, suck a dick.
Yeah. Like, it's obviously just not okay to do at all, but also, you're wrong.
I mean, like...
And you're probably living in a shittier place than LA is on average.
That, I'll give you that a million times over. I wouldn't move there, but it's still a very nice place. And quite frankly, it's got a lot more cash revenue going around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the Jamie Lee Curtis quote about LA right now?
I don't think so.
Oh my God. She compared it to Gaza.
Jeez. Yeah, okay, that's a bit much.
Isn't it a little bit much?
It's like you're going the complete opposite direction here. What are you doing?
Yeah, bad. Bad Jamie Lee. What else do we have prepared for the show?
A bit of rapid fire here, because there's been a lot of little important news stories this week, but not a whole lot to really say about them other than that they happened. The former FBI informant who fabricated the story about Hunter Biden and pled guilty back in December for that lying has been sentenced this week to 6 years in prison.
Damn.
I can never believe that this guy is like a real person. It's a former, it's FBI informant working to incriminate the opposing political party's family, and his name is Alexander Smirnov.
That seems a little on the nose. A little
Do you
bit.
want to guess what his citizenship is?
Am I going to get offended by this?
No, it's just like, it's wild.
Okay, please tell me.
Israeli and American.
Oh, okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
No, it's just weird.
It is weird.
It's just like you're dealing with fabricating claims about a Ukrainian energy company. Your name is Alexander Smirnov, and you're from Israel in the U.S. What?
Yeah. I didn't even think there was much of a track record for Israelis immigrating over to the U.S.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's a big thing. It goes both ways, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but what's the difference between the two countries?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. They are, very close allies for a reason. We also got this week from the House of Representatives, Judiciary Committee, Representative Jim Jordan, in an interview with Politico this week, said that regardless of the fact that the main witness in the Hunter Biden case has been arrested for lying, regardless of the fact that Hunter Biden has been given a blanket pardon for any actions that he may or may not have committed between basically forever, where it's relevant, that the House will be continuing to waste taxpayer dollars on their investigation of Biden. Specifically saying that, quote, "We think we need to look at David Weiss, the special counsel."
But why?
I don't know.
What the hell does David have to do anything to do with this?
They are pretty clearly just upset that their little goose chase got ruined by the pardoning. And they're just going after anyone else that they can.
What a bunch of jokers.
Mm-hmm.
Can they go and investigate Alexander?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I'm just trying to flip the script.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. In a bit of an amusing comment that will come up later, that's foreshadowing. When asked about Biden's pardoning Hunter, he said, I didn't agree with it. I think a lot of Americans didn't, but then added, the president can pardon anyone he wants to pardon.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Yep.
That's, I don't want to be fucking attacked. Like, nonsense.
Well, we'll get to it. There's some stuff expected to happen here in the next couple of weeks that I think will make it relevant. But yeah, the Conservative Party as a whole is still not really sure where they need to land on the president's pardoning power.
He can do whatever he wants as long as it's an executive order.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That is what the law currently says.
Like, where the fuck are these people coming from with this shit?
And speaking of what the law says, Rudy Giuliani has been held in contempt of court for a second time this week after failing to appear for a federal judge in D.C. Nothing has happened from this contempt charge yet. And there has been very reasonable criticism of the fact that nothing has happened yet. Though I do think it's worth pointing out that the number of cases where criminal or civil defendants are properly in contempt of the court in a way that doesn't get overturned or that has any implications beyond like the events of that court that day is not common at all. And while the way that Giuliani has been treated here, given his flagrant and repeated violations of the court's orders, is very frustrating, it is in line with how judges are expected to treat contempt cases.
Makes sense.
That being said, part of the reason that Giuliani keeps being found in contempt of court is that he continues to defame the women who were the poll workers in Georgia who sued him and landed him with the $150 million defamation judgment year before last, that he has been swerving and appealing and trying to avoid paying in any form. This second contempt piece also requires Giuliani to sign a sworn declaration acknowledging that his past and most recent statements were false. And with that written statement, if he does it again, it makes it exceedingly likely that he would see jail time from his contempt of the court.
Do it, Rudy. You know you want to.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be put in their place, Rudy. You got to do it, Rudy. Do it for America, Rudy.
The district judge involved, Beryl Howell, said it is outrageous and shameful that Mr. Giuliani dares to suggest that he is the one being treated unfairly when his conduct has caused the plaintiffs real harm.
You know you want to do it, Rudy. The world's against you, Rudy. Do it for the coffee beans you're selling, Rudy.
This is very funny as well. Giuliani's spokesperson, Ted Goodman, quote, "The public should know that Mayor Rudy Giuliani never had the opportunity to defend himself on the facts in the defamation case." Yeah, he pled guilty. That's what happens when you plead guilty. The misinformation that's been going around this is just exceedingly brazen and very dumb. Like, he pled guilty. There wasn't a case. You don't get to have findings of fact shown to the public when you don't proceed to trial. In the same vein, he's refused to comply with orders for documents and communications to be presented. So in the same way, he's been given a chance in these appeals to have the public know and try to defend himself, and he is completely failing at every opportunity. It's very, very dumb.
This man was a very good lawyer at one point.
He was a lawyer.
I mean,
I would say he was a very confident lawyer. I'd put it that way, I think.
He's a very good lawyer.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you.
So yeah, Giuliani sucks, as is the norm now. And hopefully he'll either give these women whose lives he ruined the money or property that he said he would, and stop screwing them around, or he'll go in jail. Either is good.
That man led New York City through 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah. Makes me wonder how much he actually did.
I'm guessing not much, because, like, okay, so here's my thing, right? Like, we'll derail a little bit.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on the World Trade Center versus the Twin Towers situation? Do you think we should have built 2 towers instead of 1?
I have literally no opinion whatsoever.
Really? Like, I've known people that have very hard opinions on this.
Yeah, no, I do not care.
I am in the middle of it. Like, I agree. I don't really care too much. It's more of a New Yorker thing, I think.
Sure.
But, like, some people say...
Like, they just want to preserve the skyline or whatever?
They want to preserve the skyline, and they say by letting you let the terrorists win by not building the 2 towers back up immediately, and only doing 1 trade center at the end of it all is
that's very dumb,
defeat. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, that feels very, like, childish, because, like, they did win.
Yeah.
They accomplished their goal of destabilizing America politically, causing us to spend millions, if not, well, probably easily billions, if not trillions of dollars on overseas conflicts that don't actually address the reason why it happened in the first place.
No, dude, we were just securing freedom. I don't know what you mean. It had nothing to do with 9/11. We were just securing freedom.
In other news,
Yo,
this is a quick one. A pastor has been indicted by federal prosecutors for a crypto project that he says came to him in a dream.
I like how he says a dream instead of, like, saying God gave it to him.
Yeah.
It's an insinuation, but it's still interesting.
Pastor Francier Pinillo? I actually don't know. I think that's Pinillo.
Pinillo? Okay.
That's a weird spot for a double L, but I'd say Pinillo is probably Italian or something like that versus Spanish. Per the DOJ, he used his position of influence to recruit investors into a fraudulent cryptocurrency venture called Solano Fi. He told those investors that it came to him in a dream and was a guaranteed investment, promising investment returns as much as 34.9% monthly at no risk. The actual cryptocurrency scheme here was that there was no investments happening. The entire Solano Fi website and project was completely fraudulent and displayed balances and currency amounts that did not exist. And Pilano was just taking the investments that were being given to him for this crypto project and just spending them as his own money. When people tried to withdraw their money, they were met with transaction failures because the money didn't exist, and they claimed that it was technical problems or that there were issues with the cryptocurrency market. The really sleazy thing about this is that when this happened, he would use it to further extort the victims for money in order to repair the broken system so that they could get their funds, or alternatively would give them a buyout option where they could exit the scam without any losses by replacing their account with another person.
So hear me out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I respect the hustle. People who...
It's innovative.
Yeah. People will do anything but hire an actual professional nowadays.
It is really seeming like that.
Here's my new doctrine for everybody, right? I am a authorized priest, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Last year on the show, I did a speed run to get my fucking priest license.
Yep.
I like to announce my new crypto project, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Christ coin. It is coin dictated in value by the will of God. Please invest in my crypto project. Let God put the prosperity gospel in your... Okay, I'm done. That's enough blasphemy for today.
You'll be shocked to learn that is already a thing.
Is it already a thing?
Yep. You're going to have to dig a little bit deeper. Christ coin is already a thing on Ethereum. Christianity coin is trading for $0.000148. Oh, this is actually very funny. I believe this is a conversion to Bitcoin price, and it's so much less than Bitcoin that they have to use scientific notation in order to show it. And
hilarious.
There's also a Jesus coin, which is also worth basically nothing.
Bible bucks or Messiah money? That's my next two pitches.
Bible bucks, crypto. Oh, this is a good one. January 7th, 2023 on seedtimemoney.com. The Bible and crypto. Should Christians invest in Bitcoin?
I'm not hearing that my title's been taken yet.
There is Bible Pay. So you're good on Bible bucks, I think.
Okay, cool. Fuck. What else can I make?
This is actually kind of a fascinating article. Like, you understand the concept of seed money, seed faith, right?
No, but could you go into it a little bit more for...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So it's the idea amongst certain predominantly Christian denominations where you give your money to the church as a seed of your commitment to the church and religion. And that seed will grow with the church and at some point will be given back to you many-fold times greater than your initial offering as a reward for your faith.
What kind of Peter Popoff kind of shit is this? Like, okay.
These are overwhelmingly very obvious scams by extremely wealthy pastors of megachurches And you get quotes from many of these people where it'll be like, if I want to ask God for what the hell is it called? A plane, right? A jet plane. Yeah. Why shouldn't I? Kind of thing.
Like,
flagrantly amoral.
I think any idea of investing in a church is inherently antithetical to the idea of Christianity right there. What's that old proverb? It's easier for a camel to get through like a thread, the spool of a thread, than for a rich man to go to heaven.
Yep.
So why the fuck are you trying to get rich off church?
Oh, see, they're not. They need it for the church, you see. They don't get any lasting wealth from it.
God. It's hard. It's very hard being a Christian nowadays. Okay, here's my next one, right? Crucifixion coin.
I would be surprised if that was one. Let's find out.
Disciple dollars? No.
Not quite.
Okay.
But this is great branding. There is a cryptocurrency called Crucify. Crucifi. It is an acronym, or I guess a shortened version for crucifixion, spelled with an X.
I'm done. I can't compete.
You can't out-dumb these people. They will beat you with experience every time.
Man. You see, the problem is I'm trying to be clever and cute about it. They're just going right for the fucking throat. And that's what I need to be. I need to get that dog in me, you know?
This is the reason why the Last Week Tonight skits about, like, rattling off a list of dumb things and being like, only one of these are fake. I bet you can't guess which one it is. Like, we've gotten one or two fake Christianity-based cryptocurrencies and like 5 that are just actually true already, just as a joke off of like 2 minutes of Google searches.
Oh my God.
All of them sound extremely fake, but the majority are absolutely real.
I'm trying real hard to find like another one, but honestly,
yeah, like if you want to get more specific, you can probably find stuff, but then you're like making a cryptocurrency for it to actually be used for something, and what's the point in that?
Exactly. Like
the obvious scammy buzzwordy ones are already taken.
It's sad. It's very sad.
It is.
Born again bucks.
It's too many words.
You know, you're right. I mean, it's got like a nice little rhythm with a cadence, but
I don't think you could do bucks either. I think anything that isn't coin is gonna struggle.
You know, you got to get on that Bitcoin knowledge. So you're right. You got to leech off Bitcoin.
Yep. It's also just the vernacular, the language that people already know.
Yeah,
cryptocurrencies are coins to a lot of people.
That's how luxurious our brand is, though. Fucking, you want to go after a Bitcoin? I'm after the bit dollar. We are not the same.
I have a good one here. Let me see if I can actually. Yeah, Anno Domini dollars.
Damn, dude.
Or you could just have Domini dollars, because that's like Lord bucks or Lord coin.
God damn, that's good too. Remember when crypto was a serious investment?
Yep. Oh no. I mean, that's the thing with cryptocurrency, right? It has at no point been a serious investment. You were either in it early and objectively wasting your money on either a worthless thing, or you were getting scammed, and then like 2 currencies exploded extremely quickly, and you were not able to get into those unless you had already committed massive amounts of risk to it. And then now it's just all scams again.
Yeah, that's fair. That's really fair. Yeah. Looking at you, Hawk Coin.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
okay, I'm sorry. I have not bringing my authentic self to the show. I just realized in my private life, I make a lot of Hawk Tuay jokes. I have not made that many on this show, and I apologize to our fans. Yes, I am annoying. Thank you for noticing.
I didn't say that. Speaking of annoying, when felons don't have consequences for their actions. Trump was sentenced earlier this week by Judge Juan Merchan for his 34 felonies for financial crimes in the state of New York. His sentence was an unconditional discharge. We talked about this last week. And it's exceedingly frustrating and disappointing to see it come to fruition. So the outcome of all of Trump's obvious criminality is he is now legally, technically, a felon. And that's it.
In my opinion, this is the most centralist shit you could do. And I've learned something about centralism recently. In centralism, nobody wins.
Yep. Absolutely.
So do you think Donnie's like crying a little bit after like getting that slapped like title?
Oh, he is pissing and shitting himself.
Yeah. Because like, here's the thing. He can't go to schools anymore, can he?
Oh, no, I think he can.
Can he? Okay.
It's the actual consequences for this are basically non-existent, right? Like, because his primary residence is listed in Florida, a lot of the more severe felony preventing consequences that one would expect don't exist there. So he can still vote, for example. He can also, I believe, purchase a firearm. I don't actually know if that's completely accurate, but like, I'm sure he'll be crying tears of blood over losing that right. Yeah. And one could argue that is the correct way to treat felons by not removing as many of their rights when they are not incarcerated, you know?
Yeah.
It is just extremely frustrating in a case like this where it works out such that there is effectively no consequence at all.
No, I agree. That's a good point.
The only slimmest of good news that happened as a result of this, in a Supreme Court decision, 5-4, on Thursday, they declined to stay the proceedings and did not take the case.
The Supreme Court is so fucking weird, dude.
Yep. Well, and I believe if there was any actual chance that Merchan was going to give actual penalties for this, they probably would have taken it up. I think they would have done that, and they probably would have said, no, you can't do that. We'll also see in the aftermath of this, if he had been given some sort of sentencing, the court could take up the appeal and be like, the felon tag stays, but the actual, if there's like jail or fines or whatever, is not applicable. Something like that. Trump has appealed within the state of New York. I don't know if they've officially done anything with it yet. I don't expect anything to happen within the state. Yeah, it's very fucked.
I guess to some regards, I'm kind of actually happy Merchan didn't do anything, because at least he's saving tax dollars.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the message that it would have sent would have been well worth it rather than what he literally said, which is Donald Trump, the ordinary citizen, Donald Trump, the criminal defendant, would not be entitled to such considerable protections. Like that. He's not the fucking president yet. You can't even put him on probation. You can't make him pay a fine that doesn't matter. You're just going to go straight to literally fucking nothing.
The idea of the president being on probation kind of makes me laugh, because you obviously have to have some form of gainful employment on probation sometimes. Like a condition.
I don't know. the main thing that the felon tag will do to Trump's detriment is that if he is ever tried for presumably financial crimes within the state of New York again, he will not have he will not have any ground to stand on for arguing that he doesn't know what he's doing is wrong, right?
Fair.
It has now been made explicit to him that his financial actions within the state of New York are illegal. And where it pertains to the state of New York, because of those financial crimes, he can't apply for a liquor license, I don't think, in the state. There's other certain financial, things that he just can't do anymore because of the felony tag. So, yeah, not literally nothing, but it sure feels like it.
Oh, well, he's got 5 good years left in him?
I don't think he has any good years left in him, but he's probably not going to kick the can just yet, yeah.
I mean, he's got those presidential hormones they gave Jimmy Carter in his blood. He's going to live a very long time.
I hope not. In other kind of related news, Special Counsel Jack Smith has officially resigned from the Department of Justice.
Oh, yeah.
Not unsurprising. And he probably would have been fired regardless by the Trump administration. But an unfortunate way for his tenure to end, to say the least.
I agree. It's really weird because he's been portrayed as this big national left-wing hero just for all the investigation work he's done.
Yep.
And it's such an anticlimax for him to basically lose the case just because of how everything's going.
Yep. I mean, and to be fair, he hasn't lost the case yet. The case is still, I believe, technically open. It's just in limbo, kind of forever.
I mean, you can't really... He's not in a position where pursuing that case is the best interest for him.
Yep. He is still, I believe, as well, continuing to work on other cases. So, like the co-defendants in the documents case, Nada and Olivier. He specifically said that he would not release the part of his report that details their crimes because they are active defendants.
That makes sense.
Yep. We also got one nice little stinger to close out the escapades with regard to Judge Cannon in Florida, who issued a completely illegal and, illegal in the sense that it is not based in any law, ordering the Smith report to not be released, and the Florida Appeals Court said that her order was plainly wrong and said that while Smith would not be able to release any portion of the report for something like 3 days to allow a chance for appeal to the ruling, that the initial injunction that Cannon made was completely out of line.
Mm.
Plainly erroneous is another way that they put it.
I like that.
Yeah. In a bit of a plot twist, though, keeping it through the rapid fire, earlier this week, we had a statement coming out from one of the Proud Boys leaders who's already been convicted and is in jail, serving 22 years for January 6 convictions, requesting a pardon from soon-to-be President Trump.
Of course.
In a interesting turn of the hand, J.D. Vance has said, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned, claiming Trump had no choice for claims about the January 6 rioters, and says that violent offenders should stay locked up and remain charged.
That's... JD's getting sprayed with a water bottle when he gets home, but interesting. Yeah.
So this was on a Fox News Sunday interview. Says Vice President-elect Vance provided the clearest explanation that the Trump administration is planning to pardon January 6 rioters, telling Fox News Sunday that there's a little bit of a gray area there for who committed violence during the Capitol attack. Obviously, they shouldn't be pardoned. Those who protested peacefully, however, can expect to have their records wiped clean.
I guess, okay, hear me out, right? Like, JD
Yep.
is very much supposed to be like Pence in a little bit, like where he's supposed to be the liaison to the MAGA and Republican relationship here.
Yep.
So it doesn't surprise me to see him try to do a little bit of a cleanup work on the GOP's reputation by denouncing something like the Proud Boys or something like that.
Mm-hmm. It is going to be, if they go with this, like, what do they consider violent? I think a lot of people would reasonably consider breaking into the Capitol a violent act.
No. They're just misunderstood.
I bet they won't.
Yeah. We pay our tax dollars for the Capitol. It's practically ours. So I think we should just be able to walk in whenever we want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Need a nap? Go find Pelosi's desk.
Yeah, dude. I pay for the White House. Why can't I just walk in there whenever I want?
I think technically you kind of can. Just not all of it.
Damn. Can I at least get like the secret passages?
I don't know for sure, but I do think they actually do tours of some of them.
That's kind of hilarious. I respect that.
Yeah. Not like the secret passages, but like the underground tunnels between the buildings kind of passages.
If the president would step foot in there, you're not allowed in that one.
Yeah. And it's also the kind of thing where it's like, yeah, it's tunnel. It's underground.
Really
That's kind of
doesn't lead
it.
anywhere great.
It's what you'd expect. It's not fancy. It's very functional. It's meant to help people not have to deal with traffic. And, maybe if there's an earthquake or a attack, they can hide there. But that's it.
That's it.
Yep. In another little bit of a surprise turn this week, the Supreme Court has started to hear arguments on the TikTok ban. And it seems... Oh, yeah, pretty much. But it seems like they're going to be upholding the law that would effectively ban TikTok within the United States.
I have mixed feelings on that.
Yep, me too. Particularly the justices in their questioning did not appear convinced by the free speech arguments that were being made. And that I agree with. Like, this is the kind of thing where it's like, I fundamentally don't agree with what this law is doing, but at the same time, I don't think it's violating the Constitution in any way. I just think it's a shitty law that shouldn't have been passed in the first place.
I think if this law if everything goes passing through, you can't make an argument that we don't interfere with business anymore, because this is going to be a very famous case of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So at
and like that's always kind of been the case, right?
TM trademark. Yeah. It all depends on how we really feel about you as a company. If you're selling MAGA merchandise, you're good.
So from there, something that I was kind of like, oh yeah, that's interesting, because a large part of the reason that law was passed at all was to give the appearance, at least, of the U.S. government standing up for American businesses, right? Because that's part of the claim, is that ByteDance, vis-a-vis TikTok, is operating unfairly within the United States by not subjecting themselves to the same scrutiny that their American counterparts are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And to that end, I think it's time we talk about Meta.
Fuck. Dude. Where do we even begin?
So, yeah, let's start with what happened here, right? The main things that have happened this week as it relates to Meta, which, for those that might not know, is Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, I believe. Well, and I guess like Threads technically too, but Instagram. Like who fucking cares about Threads?
Yeah.
Meta has changed their internal guidelines for what moderation actions they will be taking and what those moderation actions will look like. And to that end, they have ended their partnerships with third-party fact-checking services that previously operated in partnership with Meta to prevent the spread of misinformation on their platform.
They don't give a fuck. Misinformation
On the
gets people
surface,
engaged. Sorry.
I was like, on the surface, none of that sounds particularly radical, right?
Yeah.
The problem comes when you have reporting like this one from The Intercept, who has received a leaked document that was an internal document at Meta revealing examples of sample posts that would now be allowed under the new hate speech rules. Would you like to hear some of them?
Will they get us banned off YouTube? Because we're already banned off Spotify.
Are we?
Okay, so I've never really gone too deep with this. I truly believe we are a little bit banned on Spotify because we talked about COVID during COVID.
Sure, yeah.
Because every time I try to get into that account and upload something, no matter what file I put in there, something went wrong. That's always the message I get. Yeah.
I'm willing to roll the dice on this. And if YouTube wants to throw an automated tag on this, they're more than welcome to. But I think this is very clear just reporting on events that happened. This is factual. It is not opinion-based. This is a thing that happened. And these are direct quotes that were being, shared as training information at Meta.
Hide the kids. Kids get out. Yeah. Okay.
I will probably... I don't think any of these are that bad. Not that something's going to get flagged and anything like that. Specific examples now include allowing to call children trannies.
Oh, no.
You can say immigrants are grubby, filthy pieces of shit.
What?
No consequences for that. And if you really want to, you can say, quote, Jews are flat out greedier than Christians, unquote.
What the fuck did you just...
Mm-hmm.
Knowing the leftist,
further in it gets really, really dumb. These obviously allow, as Sam Biddle of The Intercept reported, for overt statements of racial superiority, which is not surprising now, and we'll get into some more of that as to why that is later. But the document is seemingly inherently contradictory for what it considers hate speech. So if you say lesbians are so stupid, that's against the rules. That's hate speech. You can't call lesbians stupid. If you want to say trans people are mentally ill, that's totally fine.
So it's basically the people who are... How do I put this? You have to be over a certain threshold in the population, I see.
Yes.
Oh, it's fucked up.
If you lean far enough a certain way, suddenly it's not hate speech anymore.
Dude.
Here's another one. Statements that one protected class is smarter than another are allowed, but only if posted with support. So if you want to claim that Jewish people are smarter than Christians, you have to include a statistical study for it.
What counts as a study? With support?
Don't be an anti-Semite. This is just the new rules.
You can't pull the Israel argument on me, good sir. Fuck you.
Here's another good one. The document states that dehumanizing statements are still forbidden, but cites as examples of content that moderators should allow as immigrants are filthy pieces of shit, gays are freaks, and Mexican immigrants are trash, because those aren't dehumanizing at all.
Jesus, fuck. You can't even have moderation in this economy. God damn it.
Zuckerberg and Kaplan, as is per Biddle's reporting again, have positioned these changes as an attempt to allow people to freely discuss hot-button policy issues, examples being bathroom policies and trans children on sports teams, but these clearly show that the company is going well beyond that, particularly as it relates to, immigration and religion.
I'm of the opinion they just don't give a fuck anymore.
This is another good one. Other news in this document, via an official slur update, Meta has decided that tranny is no longer a designated slur and is now non-violating. From Biddle, I have never seen the company or any other platform delist a slur before.
It's very true.
And there's a great update that was added after publication. Meta reached out to him to clarify some things. Quote, Meta contacted me to say that the company made a mistake in its internal guidelines reported here, and look at that tranny, beneath a photo of a 17-year-old, is in fact not permitted. They told me that the rest of the examples stand. So Meta had a chance to clarify or contradict any of these examples as not being true or not being fully true, and they chose not to because they are accurate.
Okay, hear me out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. So we're pretty much establishing it's a fucking free-for-all there, right?
Yep.
So what we do is we make a whole bunch of bots, right?
Yes.
We make a whole bunch of bots, and we make them just post AI-generated art. I know this is already...
Okay. I was going to say, it sounds like you're just describing Facebook so far, but go on.
Yeah. Okay, so we give these bots an algorithm to infest, like, right-wing groups, and then we have the AI bots shoot them with nothing but transgender porn. I know. They'll probably like it.
Well, no, that just seems gross.
Oh, come on, dude. It's bombing them, so they stop going on Facebook.
But they will. You know, it won't stop them.
You know, the addiction is too strong at this point. You're right.
Some other interesting things that have come out of this. First, we had a comment from Alex Schultz, who is Meta's chief marketing officer and the highest-ranking gay executive. He suggested in an internal post that people seeing their queer friends and family members abused on Facebook and Instagram could lead to increased support for LGBTQ rights.
How?
That's a good question. Moving on, because there's no answer.
Okay.
Some internal comments from people within Meta. One employee tells reporter Jason Gubler, I've never seen morale this low. Most folks expected some changes with the incoming administration's hostility to gay and trans people, but this just feels vicious, almost gleeful. And, as he puts it, like clockwork, almost immediately after this reporting went out, it was announced that Zuckerberg would be on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
For me, the outcome of that podcast, particularly one line in particular, really helps to encapsulate the why of all of this. Why does Meta want to get their hands all up in Trump's taint so much like they seem to? Here's a piece from that podcast. This is reporting by Politico EU. Zuckerberg complained that the EU had forced US tech companies operating in Europe to pay more than $30 billion in penalties for legal violations over the past 2 decades. Politico adds, last November, the tech chief's Meta conglomerate, which operates Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and other social media and communications platforms, was fined €797 million for breaching EU antitrust rules. So that's the short of it. Zuckerberg went on to say that the EU Commission's applications of their anti-competition rules is almost like a tariff on American tech companies, which is a very funny statement to say. The idea that an American tech company can't operate without violating antitrust is very clearly something that he didn't think through, while also highlighting the failures of the American Department of Justice to combat these monopolistic behaviors, while also highlighting the need for the behaviors that we saw earlier this year, where they tried to go after Google for their monopolistic activities to be much more necessary. Because, yeah, it's pretty true, and not a good place for the industry to be.
So what you're saying is the tech bros are trying to get their own tech Gilded Age, and they're really scared that, regulation's going to get them.
Yeah, I mean, that is entirely it.
Yeah.
The tech companies have been operating on, by the skins of their teeth for a very long time. I actually was compiling some thoughts earlier this week of just like, what the fuck is going on? Why are things going the way that they are? In Q3 2024, MetaVR, just their VR division, had posted $4.4 billion in losses. Their total revenue over the entire history of the division is only $270 million. They are taking massive risks, taking on huge amounts of debt, and it seems like the European Union has finally caught on enough with the just fire hose of absolute crap that these companies have been slipping and sliding around on to avoid regulation. They finally caught up enough to hurt them financially in a way that matters. And it seems like they're really scared of that fact. And they're hoping for the incoming administration to do something about that to their benefit.
I don't think they are.
I think it's going to be an interesting couple of years. Generally speaking, I don't see a way. I guess we'll know for sure how. We'll know at the end of the next 4 years whether the broad American experiment, right, is able to be salvaged. If things go the way they're looking right now, and the Trump administration enforces extreme tariffs against countries like China for their tech industries just because, if they try to issue tariffs or any sort of consequences for the EU's tech regulations, they're going to respond and issue tariffs in kind. And all of this is going to ultimately fall on the American consumer, right?
Oh, totally.
When that happens, we know, just because of the very unfortunate history that we have to look back on, that the number of people who actually correctly identify the root cause of these problems is going to be less than 100% of the people who voted for these problems to start, right? And depending on what that percentage is going to determine whether our institutions are salvageable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fun fact: the federal minimum wage is still $7.25.
Why do you have to hit with that shit, dude? It's hard. It's really hard.
It is.
Yeah. I think what hurts me the most is I've come to terms with like everything that's going to like most likely happen. I mean, you never know what can happen, but like, if you take the worst case scenario, I'm a little afflicted because I know I probably won't be affected that much. Yep. There's still going to be a lot of people who get played.
Absolutely.
And I feel.
Part of the reporting on this that I found particularly disheartening is a series of internal comments from employees at Facebook about their reactions to this that they communicated to their supervisors, their senior members. I'm going to read through some of them because it, I think, helps to highlight how much of an executive level decision this is. This is very much being forced from the top down, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go through some of these. These are all quotes. This change is unacceptable on all levels. Someone went into this policy and not only removed protection, they actually doubled down and made it explicitly okay. I had to reread the policy language many times to believe what I was seeing. A very clear statement that we're okay with people attacking others based on their sexual orientation or gender identity. I cannot begin to fathom why we think this is unacceptable or helpful to our community and our company's mission. I've never felt so strongly that we're on the wrong side of history. This is going to cause so much harm. Please reconsider this change. When I first joined this company, people would criticize me for working here all the time. I defended you time and time again, always anchoring that at the end of the day, we try to do our best, even if it doesn't work out sometimes. But this, appalling. I think it's clear that the policy team is not open to any feedback here and is committed to an ideological project that sacrifices some of our communities in order to achieve their goal. Just call me a tranny and close the discussion here. At least it would be honest. And I find it very hard to understand how explicitly carving out which groups of marginalized people can have what we otherwise classify hate speech directed at them will be beneficial for the communities we hope to build on our platforms. I think that last one has a very clear answer, and that is that the communities that are hoping to be built on Facebook are no longer the same communities that Facebook already has. For whatever reason, they've seen how Twitter became more of a safe space for, lack of a better word, overt Nazis, and decided that they want a slice of that pie.
But here's the problem, right? Like, I feel most people who who live that little lifestyle, I really don't feel like they're the ones with money or free time.
Oh, they aren't.
Yeah. Like, any bit of free time, I feel like that goes to, Twitter. They're not going to simply just move over to, like, Meta or shit like that.
Yep. Absolutely.
Like, that's direct competition, and quite frankly, Elon's already won that.
I did enjoy that piece from Paul Tassi that you sent right before the show on how Zuckerberg in the Rogan interview apparently took a jab at Apple, saying they haven't invented anything great in a while, with Paul Tassi's response being, you renamed your entire company because you thought your VR metaverse was going to be a generation-defining thing.
It's fair, though.
It absolutely is. And it's extremely funny. Like, Apple made a VR headset, and it is, from a technological standpoint, pretty revolutionary. It just doesn't have stuff to do on it. Then Meta goes and makes the metaverse, and not only is it not technologically new, it's so bad that it gets laughed into obscurity and a multi-billion-dollar loss.
I'm actually very curious what's going on in the metaverse right now. Have they shut that down fully yet?
Oh, absolutely not. That's what I'm saying. The $4.4 billion debt that I quoted before was the most recent update to their financials in this last quarter. It's still operating, and it is still losing massive amounts of money.
Newest post on r/metaverse. Why can't I find the metaverse? There's no reply back to it yet. This is a dead subreddit if I've ever seen one.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Zeki Poo.
Yeah. How will he ever recover? He'll just have to go back to his corner of an island in Hawaii and sulk, I guess, right?
I guess. Wait, is it where's Facebook's headquarters at? I'm very curious right now.
I would imagine it's somewhere in California.
Yeah, I'm curious if they're in the fire path or not.
Menlo Park, I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so either.
Palo Alto, San Francisco, so no.
Nope. Okay. I was kind of hoping that was like a divine sign from God to tell Zuck to fuck off, but
no, it's really it's extremely unfortunate that the LA fires are where that they are, because the vast majority of the area that's been damaged has been residential.
Yeah.
It's just people's homes getting fucking destroyed.
It's mindless. It's senseless.
Yeah. It is.
And those are fucking expensive ass homes. I'm just saying that. As a guy who works in insurance, I know what those homes are worth.
Yep. Well, that's what I have for news. Bit of a downer to end on, but that's what I got.
That's completely fine. I mean,
I do have some movies.
Better Man?
Yeah, and some others. A surprising number of releases this weekend.
That's really shocking to me. I thought we'd only have Better Man.
Yeah, 4 of them, in fact.
What you got?
Better Man, of course, is the main one that's coming out this weekend. I'm still not really sure why. I don't know. It's just the visual language of it is so obviously crypto inspired that I have a very hard time taking it seriously.
Wait, is it crypto inspired?
I don't know, but the monkey imagery has been so co-opted by that.
You know, that's fair.
I can't separate it at this point. It's maybe not, but I don't care enough to look into it past that. Movie's doing very well, though. Yeah. Based on the true story of the meteoric rise, dramatic fall, and remarkable resurgence of British pop superstar Robbie Williams. Under the visionary, I'm going to try and cut out some of these superlatives. Under the direction of Michael Gracie, the Greatest Showman, the film tells the story from Robbie's perspective, capturing his wit and spirit. Follows Robbie's journey from childhood to being one of the youngest members of the chart-topping boy band Take That, through to his unparalleled achievements as a record-breaking solo artist, while confronting the challenges that stratospheric fame and success can bring. It has been kind of fascinating to see the similar rise and fall and rise again of the music star autobiographic film. Because we had a few good ones, and then a pretty wide glut of very bad ones. But lately, the ones that have been coming out have been pretty consistently good.
I think I'd rather have something like Better Man, where it's like just different.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, it's kind of like the Lego Pharrell movie as well. I respect the Lego Pharrell movie, even though I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you can only get so many complete unknowns. Why not just be a fucking better man?
Yeah, be a little weird with it.
Okay, so apparently the monkey part is a metaphor pitched by Robbie Williams for how, in his own words, he was dragged on the stage and told to perform like a monkey every night.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I live with that.
Yeah. Next on the list, Den of Thieves 2, Pantera.
Okay,
it's a sequel to Den of Thieves.
Sorry.
What's that?
What do Cowboys from Hell have to do with this?
Do with what?
This movie. It's a Pantera reference to the band.
I don't know what Pantera is a reference to. It's probably just a cool thing.
That's kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. Pantera is a cool word.
It's a good name.
Yeah.
It's a sequel to 2018's Den of Thieves. It's doing fine to meh. The Last Showgirl, Pamela Anderson. Another one's doing fine to positive. Is this a drama or yeah? So it's a drama. I'm gonna find a better synopsis because that sucks. General ratings are in like the 70s to 80s for it.
Interesting.
American drama featuring Pamela Anderson as Shelley Gardner, middle-aged showgirl who has performed for 3 decades, and La Razzle Dazzle, a classic French-style revue at a casino on the Vegas Strip. Her co-stars in the show now include several younger women, including Marianne and Jodie, both of whom view Shelley as a mother figure. Shelley's older best friend, Annette, maintains a close kinship with Shelley, despite having been ousted from the show years prior, and now works intermittent gigs as a cocktail waitress. The producer of the show accompanies Annette, Marianne, and Jodie for dinner at Shelley's home, where he breaks the news that La Razzle Dazzle is due to close in 2 weeks due to declining ticket sales, and is to be replaced with a more contemporary, risque, neo-burlesque show. Shelley is crestfallen by the news and views the replacement show as obscene and garish. Marianne and Jodie begin auditioning for roles in other shows on the Strip, despite Shelley's objections to them. Shelley, who has no means for retirement and low resources, fears for her livelihood. Meanwhile, Annette faces her own financial struggles. Da-da-da-da. Don't want to get to the spoilers part of it, but yeah, that's the gist. It's doing decently. Super low budget, less than $2 million.
That is really low.
Yeah, especially for having the big names like Pamela Anderson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Dave Bautista, Jason Schwartzman taking part.
It's one of those movies they actually want to be in then.
Yeah. I might see it just for Batista. He's just one of my favorite actors to watch of the current like generation of up and coming big ones.
Can we just like take some appreciation for Batista too? Like,
He's so great.
The dude, okay, one, he knocks it out of the park with Glass Onion.
Mm-hmm.
Two, he was positioned to be The Rock Part 2, and he said, fuck that.
Yep.
That is something very admirable about the man. I respect a lot of the muscle loss that he actually went through.
Mm-hmm.
And that he was very upfront about body dysmorphia that it was causing him.
Yep.
To me, that is very inspirational, and I've grown to respect the man a lot.
Definitely. I highly recommend. There was a short piece that was filmed for Blade Runner 2049 that was not used in the film. Kind of a deleted scene, but more of a short film that never made the cut, that I believe is up on YouTube, that specifically is meant to highlight his character and who they are. And it's just a great example of the actual, how capable he is as an actor.
Mm. I'm waiting. I need Dave Bautista more shit.
Apparently he was part of the English dub for The Boy and the Heron.
Oh shit, he was the Parakeet King.
Yeah.
Dude, highly recommend Boy and the Heron. It's one of my favorite movies, like the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Last film to go over with the release this week, Hard Truths, by filmmaker Mike Leigh. Pansy, a woman racked by fear, tormented by afflictions, and prone to raging tirades against her husband, son, and anyone who looks her way. Meanwhile, her easygoing younger sister, played by Michelle Austin, is a single mother with a life as different from Pansy's as their clashing temperaments, brimming with communal warmth from her salon clients and daughters alike. Expansive film from a master dramatist takes us into the intensities of kinship, duty, and the most enduring of human mysteries, that even through lifetimes of hurt and hardship, we still find ways to love those we call family. Obviously a drama. Mostly bring this up just because it's currently at a 95%. From about 100 critic reviews. It's in limited release right now, but for what I can tell, at least, a relatively less experienced cast, they seem to be doing very good work on this.
Huh. That's still cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Who is... Because I've seen a lot of the director getting hyped up for this. I'm curious what else they've done, because I don't recognize their name, to be frank. And I initially just sort of skimmed past it because of that. Yeah, I don't recognize any of the stuff they've done. Though one of their past films, Mr. Turner, 2014, very highly reviewed by critics. Secrets and Lies, 1996, also extremely highly reviewed. So they seem to be somewhat legit.
Huh. Apparently, Dave Bautista used to do mixed martial arts on the WWE.
I believe that.
Yeah. He's only had one fight, but it was a win by knockout, so he's got a technically good record.
Was it against somebody who, like, matters?
Great question. Yeah. So, if we're talking about the Jake Paul effect, let me find out.
Yeah.
Vince Lucero. Let's see here. He is dead.
Damn. I will say, given the picture of their face-off,
yeah.
I'm not impressed.
This might have been a freak fight.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's just like what it was with the Paul thing. It's, being able to go in there and do it at all is obviously better than the average person is going to be able to do, but doesn't seem to speak to Batista's skill, at least, without any further context.
Yeah, I could see this being like just an introduction freak fight to get the name over there if he wanted to transition, but it seems like he did not want to transition.
What year was this? I'm curious.
It must have been a while back, because he looks mighty young.
Yeah. I'm wondering if this was part of like to build up his public image before the first Guardians movie.
Ooh, that's a good point.
It was 2012. Guardians Volume 1 released in 2014. So probably not super tightly associated with it, but I could definitely see it being a publicity thing put on by himself and his own, circle to build up his name.
r/UFC has the full fight on the Reddit,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm reading people's comments while watching the fight, and they're saying, "You're telling me Dave Bautista could barely take out this Domino's night manager?"
Yeah. Honestly, it's not that surprising. It is a bit disappointing, but he's very clearly more bodybuilder than athlete.
Oh, totally. I'm watching the fight right now, and he has
Yeah.
no answers to some very basic moves.
Yeah.
Like, this guy may not be built like Dave Bautista, but he definitely has more skill.
Yep. Absolutely. I would be really curious to see more. Like, I'm the whole Paul stuff is just so dumb on so many levels. But even if you don't want him to get literally murdered on camera in front of millions of people, it seems like a great chance to like promote these for the fights that they actually are. Like, can a regular dude beat somebody on dedication to a thing versus the dude having technique and skill experience, right?
Dude,
Because that's kind of what they are.
my favorite UFC fights are the older ones, like UFC 1 kind of shit, where they had like people who were just like, this was before martial arts was really mixed together.
Yeah.
But like shit where it was like a sumo wrestler versus a boxer.
Yeah. Those are fascinating.
Those are incredibly fascinating, and I understand the entertainment value on that alone.
Yeah.
I highly recommend. Go back. I think you can find them on YouTube still.
Yep.
And,
well, because I know the very first one
yeah,
is for sure. I wish that in the same way, if they could have continued with that, it would have been fascinating to see how different disciplines were able to adapt their styles to be more beneficial.
I agree. Like
if you're a sumo guy, can you just bulk the crap out of yourself enough that the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy can't get a grapple on you because you're so physically large? Like, seriously, I'd be curious to see that.
Yeah. I think it's very interesting that the meta did evolve more into that mixed martial arts vibe, where it's more like on, what's the word I'm looking for? Having an answer to these moves by taking it cross discipline. Yeah. But like, I would laugh my ass off seeing like specialized divisions become even more specialized in their division.
From a sustained entertainment perspective, it also makes a lot of sense because people will tell you that they want that like bare knuckle boxing type of violence and danger. But if you're an entertainer and a promoter, you don't want that because that carries such a high risk of your big name people just actually fucking dying.
Oh, yeah.
When you have something like mixed martial arts and the rules that or the lack of rules that go around it, letting people use their legs and their arms in ways that don't cause people to literally die and don't cause them to injure themselves by executing these moves gives you the longevity to have names actually build up in a real way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, and here's the scary part about like UFC and whatnot. It's really a young man's game because like the older you get, obviously your body's going to deteriorate. And like, I would argue the UFC fighters of today are going to definitely age better because we're doing a lot more with stem cells nowadays.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Mark Zuckerberg's stem cell bed?
I have.
I understand it as a rumor, but it also explains why Mark Zuckerberg is so confident about going to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu even though he's not that good. Because like he can get back up way faster with just his wealth, and it's fucked up. But you see like people way older from back in like the old days who are aging like milk and dying young because of like the stress on their body and having to keep up with that career and not having really much alternative ways out of it.
Yeah. Something that I do want to mention that I just sort of like thought of, to give whatever credit Batista may be due for the fight that he did, he at least fought someone in the discipline that they are trained.
Really?
He fought because the MMA fight he did was versus an MMA fighter. Okay. They're well past their prime, and it's basically a show match to fluff his ego, but he's not boxing an MMA fighter, right? He's doing MMA.
You're going more about the Jake Paul effect.
Yeah, the Jake Paul stuff. He's fighting someone in the discipline that they're actually trained for. So
that's fair.
It's not a good judge of him as a fighter, but it's more of a real fight on a technical level than the stuff that Paul has been doing.
I agree. I think there is definitely a giant, what's the word I'm looking for? Threshold and skill sets being able to use. Boxing and actual MMA, completely two different beasts, even though there's a punch in there.
Yeah, if you're an MMA fighter, it's good for you to know how to box, but yeah, it's not going to be the bulk of what you do.
If you're an MMA fighter and you just let's say you're 90% boxing and you have I don't know, put 10% into a good kick here or there.
Yep.
Helio is going to come across the ring and fucking submit your ass with a fucking grapple.
Absolutely.
I would love to see Jake Paul in an MMA match. I'm very curious how you react.
Well, so from that video you sent me, it sounded like he did have one.
Did he?
And he got his ass kicked.
Oh, funny.
It wasn't like a real one, but he did an MMA fight versus, I think it was a boxing fight versus an actual boxer or something like that, and he lost. It was one of his only losses, and it was not close.
I love it.
Because he was, fighting someone in the discipline that they've trained for their whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would like to contribute to the shows today, Mr. Gyrol?
That's what I have.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm Mr. Ryan, and I'm a Schmo.
And I'm Gyrol, and I've been a Schmo.
And this has been the Two Schmo Show. Holy shit, I did the outro like normal for once.
Nice.